What happens when a teenager thinks he's untouchable and decides to mock one of America's most respected judges? In Providence Municipal Court, 17-year-old Tyler Morrison made the biggest mistake of his young life. He looked Judge Frank Caprio in the eye, laughed, and said 5 words that would flip his world upside down. "You can't do anything to me." The room froze. Reporters stopped writing. Officers shifted in their seats. And even Tyler's parents looked stunned. What happened after that became one of the most talked about courtroom moments ever caught on camera. And it showed exactly why you never disrespect Judge Caprio. Tyler had strutted into courtroom 6 that morning like he owned it, designer sneakers squeaking. Hoodie pulled up in defiance. Smirk plastered across his face. At just 17, he'd already built a reputation as a spoiled kid who skated out of trouble thanks to his father's powerful law firm. 3 previous charges had disappeared like smoke, and Tyler was convinced today would be more of the same. But this wasn't just any judge. This was Frank Caprio, 80 years old, silver hair gleaming under the lights, a man whose reputation blended kindness with authority. He'd seen it all in nearly 4 decades on the bench. Yet he still carried himself with dignity, his eyes sharp but patient. And now those eyes locked on Tyler. "Mr. Morrison," Caprio began, calm but firm, "please stand and remove your hood." Tyler leaned back, smirk widening. "Why? It's just a traffic ticket, old man." Gasps rippled through the courtroom. Never, in all those years, had anyone dared speak to Caprio like that. Slowly, the judge removed his glasses and began to polish them, a gesture that longtime viewers knew as a warning sign. Whenever Judge Caprio cleaned his glasses, someone was about to learn a hard lesson. "Mr. Morrison," he said, his voice carrying a weight that silenced even the whispers. "Let me explain something to you about respect." But Tyler wasn't listening. He laughed out loud. "Respect? Dude, my dad's firm has gotten me out of worse. You'll give me community service. I'll pay someone to do it, and we'll go home. That's how this works." That arrogance, that dismissive chucklight was the last straw. Caprio rose from his bench. "You seem to believe this courtroom operates like your father's law firm. Allow me to correct that misunderstanding." For the first time, Tyler shifted uneasily. The charges were serious: reckless driving, endangering public safety, running red lights, nearly striking a crossing guard helping a child. Caprio read from the police report. Tyler had told the officer, "My dad will make this disappear. I can drive however I want." The smirk faded. Color drained from his face. "Mr. Morrison," Caprio thundered, "you were driving 85 in a 35-mile-per-hour school zone at dismissal time. You nearly hit a 6-year-old girl. You claim I can't do anything to you? Let me assure you I can." The courtroom leaned forward as Caprio laid out the possible sentence: 6 months in juvenile detention, a $5,000 fine, loss of driving privileges until age 21. Tyler's mother gasped. His father muttered angrily about appeals. But Caprio wasn't finished. He ordered a monitor wheeled in. On it played surveillance footage. Tyler's BMW screaming through the intersection. Children scattering. The crossing guard diving to pull a little girl away. The guard, Mrs. Patricia Gonzalez, suffered a shoulder injury and a concussion. The girl, Emma, still woke up from nightmares. And on that footage, Tyler could be heard grumbling. "Great. Now I'll be late for tennis." The silence in that courtroom was suffocating. Caprio fixed his gaze on the trembling teenager. While Mrs. Gonzalez was in the hospital and Emma was crying in her mother's arms. "You were worried about your tennis lesson. That tells me all I need to know." He paused, then delivered the blow. "I sentence you to 120 days in juvenile detention, effective immediately." Tyler's mother screamed. His father protested, but then Caprio raised his hand. "However, I believe in second chances. but they require real accountability. Mr. Morrison, I'm giving you a choice. You can serve those 120 days, or you let the word linger. You could spend the next year working at Providence Children's Hospital 20 hours a week in the trauma unit. You'll see firsthand what happens when reckless drivers shatter lives. You'll attend victim impact sessions. You'll write monthly letters to Mrs. Gonzalez and Emma's family. Only then will you earn back your driving privileges at 21 instead of 25. Tyler, now sobbing openly, whispered, I'll take the hospital. I want to do better. The judge studied him carefully. Wanting is the first step. The test is whether you'll still want when it's hard. Then came the twist no one expected. Caprio pulled out a letter. It was from Mrs. Gonzalez herself, the woman Tyler nearly killed. She had asked the judge to show mercy. He's just a boy who made a terrible mistake. She wrote, Please don't let this define his life. Tyler broke down. She's a better person than I'll ever be, he admitted. Through tears, Caprio came down from a bench, extended his hand, and said softly, Redemption is possible, but it requires genuine effort. Don't waste this chance. Tyler shook his hand, promising he wouldn't. He was escorted out, not to detention, but to begin his service at the hospital that very day. Months later, Caprio received another letter, this time from Tyler himself. He wrote about meeting a 7-year-old boy in a wheelchair, paralyzed because of a distracted driver. When I told him I was there because I drove recklessly, Tyler wrote, he said, At least you're here now, trying to help. I cried for an hour after that. He described writing to Mrs. Gonzalez and Emma's family, receiving words of encouragement in return, and learning more about character than he'd ever known. By the end of the program, Tyler had changed. He went on to study social work in college, dedicating himself to helping at-risk youth avoid the mistakes he made. He still writes to Mrs. Gonzalez every month. She still prays for him every day. And Judge Frank Caprio, he kept Tyler's letter on his desk as a reminder that justice isn't just about punishment. Sometimes it's about accountability paired with compassion, the kind of justice that doesn't just scare someone straight, but helps them become someone better. Because in that courtroom, Tyler learned the truth. The law isn't about what money can erase. It's about responsibility, redemption, and the chance to change.